And hello, welcome to a rant. It's not very ranty today, more sciencey. I wish I had. This morning I went on a really long ride to capture this footage for you in an area that I haven't been in, so enjoy. Hopefully more interesting than just looking at me, so that's why I'm in the corner, in front of a green screen. Oh, Richard's typing. What's Richard typing? Who knows? Survival of the fittest. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Thank you, Richard. Good luck. Thank you. Love Richard. Richard's awesome. Darwinism on YouTube. And I wish I had collected my thoughts much, much better, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to hit on in this video, so it might be really long. So don't watch it, or sit back and listen, or watch, or whatever. It's just, I got to get these thoughts out. So in my video, The Decline of YouTube, it's always so heartwarming. I make a video like this where I just share my thoughts. I'm seeing some channels pop up, talk about this. So my brain starts going, why is this happening? And then some of my colleagues come to me privately and say, my channel isn't doing so well. What do you think it is? So it's a discussion behind closed doors. And at some point I'm thinking, let me just throw my hat in the ring. That's what I think. What some beautiful people like you that are watching are thinking, Henning's doing badly, and you offer support. Well, here's the thing. Our channel's doing okay. Click-wise, nah. But we looked at why that is. But the jobs are there. I have food. There are many people in the world that are doing much, much worse than I am. And I love that you're saying you loved the channel. I love that you're saying we're here and offering solutions. But I don't think there is a solution. I don't think we need one. And I at the moment, I don't need one. At the moment, I'm still okay. Who knows where that goes? Even if YouTube isn't a thing that I will be doing for the rest of my life. I don't know if I want to, but I have other things. Because of YouTube, I have amassed video gear that I can rent out. I have studios that I can rent out. I could be a consultant for companies. I can do other things. At the moment, my YouTube's fine. So thank you for that. But there were thoughts. And within these thoughts, in the comments, many, many comments, there are some good things that we should talk about. And as I'm for weeks now thinking about this more, I'm thinking, you know what? This is evolution. Evolution isn't just biological, right? Darwinism isn't just biological. So, oh my God, we really have to go back, because a lot of you, trust me, don't quite get it. I mean, I know this because I've had this conversation with many people. We're not apes. Yes, we are. We're not coming from chimps. Well, no, they are parallel. Anyway. But first, what do I know about that topic? What the crap is this guitar gear guy? First of all, I wasn't always. I have done many, many albums. I'm a trained musician. What's this gear guy talking about evolution all of a sudden? Well, because of Douglas Adams's Last Chance to See, a beautiful book, I started looking into evolution. And I bought, while I was at Berkeley, Darwin's Dangerous Idea. There might be green in there that might be keyed out. This is a great book by Daniel C. Dennett, a philosopher. It's long and massively complex. And there's, annotations in here. I tried to understand this, but in this book, the prerequisite is understanding evolution, really understanding it. And this is a philosophical approach. I wasn't ready. But he talks about his friend Richard Dawkins. So I started reading Richard Dawkins. And the first book I read, The Blind Watchmaker. What an absolutely amazing book. And I went to coffee shops look, there's lots of things noted. That started my journey. My thought was evolution isn't what it used to be. And I wanted to find out if that's true. At some point, interestingly, I found and read a book called Evolution Isn't What It Used to Be. Not the biggest one, but yeah, very good. I have probably 50 books on evolution and philosophy about it, anti-evolution books. I spent years studying the subject. But one of the most important books you can read is The Selfish Gene. This is Richard Dawkins' first book. And interestingly, let's see when he wrote that. I've already lost you guys, I know. 1976, he wrote that. But let's jump to today. In this book, and you guys very likely don't know this unless you're really deep into the subject. In this book, Richard Dawkins, the God delusion guy, the guy that fights with everyone, and the guy that lately had some things that he said about trans people. I don't know exactly what he said, but he got into the media, and I think people interpreted what he said as anti-trans. Can't really imagine that, but I haven't looked into it, okay? So that guy, he coined the term meme. Brings us closer to what we're doing here. A meme, now yes, it is a funny picture on Facebook. Okay. But how did he know that in 76? How did Susan Blackmore write The Meme Machine in 98? There was no social media. There was no Facebook. There was no MySpace. There was nothing. Why do we have The Meme Machine, forward by Richard Dawkins, in 98? So, a meme isn't necessarily what you think it is. A meme is a cultural gene. Now, before I just want to legitimize myself. I have a first edition of The Selfish Gene. I'm very, very proud of that. Okay. And I once wrote an album called Unweaving the Rainbow. Sounds kind of foo-foo, but it's a prog rock album with James LaBrie from Dream Theater, all about chapters from Richard Dawkins' books. And Unweaving the Rainbow simply says, once you understand how something works, it doesn't take the magic out of it. It is magical in a different way. If you unweave the rainbow, it's not less magical. Understanding how nature works is an amazing thing. So, what's a meme, you ask? That's some hot tea. Strawberry cheesecake tea. Tom James would hate that. Elevated jump tracks. So a meme is a cultural gene. So quickly in evolution, the way that it works, we have natural selection. There's also sexual selection. So for what we're going to talk about, the YouTube thing in a bit, and memes, I don't think sexual selection is going to be part of it. But first of all, you have to survive. In order to pass on your genes, you gotta fuck. You have to have sex, right? Passing on your genes. For the female, it's a lot more difficult. You have to have sex, survive the pregnancy, raise the child. Depending on the species, that could also involve the father, but in humans, sadly, most of the time it doesn't. So first of all, survive, meaning you have to feed yourself, get fed, not be eaten, not drown, not die in the sun, blah, blah, blah. You have to have certain traits that make you survivable, right? And then once you have survived to have sex, you have to be attractive enough to the other sex to have sex, right? So there's survival of the fittest, natural selection, and sexual selection. And there's always a pull between the two, like peacock feathers getting too big for the peacock to actually be able to escape predators. But you want to have the biggest feathers so that you're sexy enough for the ladies, right? So there's a pull between what's too big of a peacock feather to make you die and what's acceptable to still be hot, right? In memes, the sexual selection part, I don't know how that really enters into it, but the natural selection part is active in cultural genes. So what Richard Dawkins says, and this is a thing now, memetics is a thing, a song is a meme. So back in the day, a folk song was written, and it was passed down to the next generation by singing it and word of mouth. Okay, so now in the next generation, someone goes and takes it and changes the meter. I don't like the 4/4, let's do it in 6/8. Now, if that makes it also good or better, it survives into the next generation and other people sing it and it spreads. Maybe it's even a lot better, so it spreads more and even more people are singing that song. If it's shit, nobody sings that song. So something that gets passed on to a next generation has procreated is standing the test of memetics or natural selection. Is it good enough to be passed on to the next generation? If you alter it, therefore mutation happens, is it worse or better or equal? A recipe is the same thing. Your grandmother taught your mother a recipe because it was loved. It was a good, survivable meme. And then your mother passed it on to you unaltered. It's still good. You love it. All good. Then you're crazy enough to throw raisins in it. And all of a sudden, nobody likes it. Now, you could go back to the original, or it just dies and your kids simply don't want to eat that shit. Then the recipe has died because of bad genes. It has been mutated and it doesn't get passed on to the next generation. So there are positive and negative mutations to a cultural gene. There are many, many other examples. This can be in art. This can be in... A culture is simply just learning from a previous generation, right? Not coming up with it yourself. Whether it's learning how to build certain things from your parents who learned it from their parents who learned it from their parents. If it's good, it will survive. If it gets altered, it might get better and be used more, right? We could even say in technology, things survive and don't, and so on. So that's memetics. Why are we using that for stupid pictures on Facebook? Well, because if it's something everyone likes, they're going to share it. And there's the funny text on it sometimes, okay? And then someone alters that text. Well, some of those are even funnier and get shared more, so it's a positive mutation that spread the meme more, and there can be a negative mutation that kills it, and nobody shares it, nobody clicks on it. Sharing is having sex. If you hit the share button, you are literally saying, this is a positive mutation, I like it, I will make more of it. That is how memetics works. And I'm saying what we do on YouTube is subject to the laws of Darwinism. How? How do I start? So you have a channel and it's doing okay. The genes of the channel are healthy, right? Now, there are a certain amount of clicks. Companies are coming, they want to book you for advertising, and we're going to get into this as well. That's what we do. It's just the beautiful form of advertising that we have now, where the companies don't own us, and we have say in how we advertise and what we advertise. And if I have a problem with the product, I don't advertise it. I just was used in an ad by a Chinese company, and they didn't ask me before, and I wrote them and said, look, I don't have a problem being in that ad, but the text you got in that ad is absolutely wrong. You're describing the guitar as an AI-powered smart guitar when it really isn't. It's a MIDI thing. There's nothing smart about it. There's nothing AI about it. I have a problem with dishonest advertising. Take that shit out. The Sound ID voice AI that I just did a video for, it's a good tool from Sonarworks, but in their ads, they're saying the first AI voice changer plugin. No. There's Audemy, there's A Studio. Why would you say that? It's dishonest advertising. There's others. I think if you got a good product, that should be enough. You don't have to make shit up. Okay, but anyway, we are in a time where, yes, a lot of YouTube is advertising, and there's also an evolution towards that. We're going to get to that in a bit, because there were many comments like, I don't watch the produced channels anymore, everyone just advertises. Yeah. Consider yourself lucky, because otherwise you got the magazines with the ads being completely controlled by the brands. Consider yourself very lucky that the advertising you being pushed is controlled by us. And there are dishonest channels, absolutely, but a lot of them are not. Now, if you're talking about advertising, about the YouTube advertising, how many ads YouTube places? Oh, way too many. I take most of them out. YouTube wants 15 ads on a 30-minute video. I erase that shit and I place 1 or 2. 30-minute video, I leave 2 in there. I leave as many in there as I could stomach if I had to watch the video myself, right? Because I don't know what advertising you're talking about. Is it the YouTube advertising or the advertising we do in videos, which is luckily around. I watch camera channels. I know that they got that camera from the brand or even got paid for it. You know, I watch Marcus Brownlee because that's good advertising, you know? Anyway, so let's talk about evolution. In evolution, there are forces. It could be predators. We have geographical issues. So you have a species. So let's consider a YouTube channel a species. Not one organism, but a whole species. So a whole species is in a geographical area, right? Let's say an island. Now they're in danger. If that island has a volcano, it erupts, it could kill the whole species. That's dangerous for the survival of the species. Being only in one geographical area, very, very dangerous. So that's when we have a species close to extinction. It's a good idea to put some of those animals in zoos because, well, likelihood of volcanoes erupting in all these zoos is, you know, very small. So you got that. You got this force of geography, right? You have resources. So if a species has to share resources with another species and they're sharing the same resource, so they're eating beetles, and there's other species that are eating beetles, they are fighting for that resource. They're competing for that resource, which is okay up to a certain point. But if more species are coming into the area, all of a sudden, the beetles are getting more scarce. So that can be an issue. At which point, what actually happens is a species will reduce the amount of offspring they have. It happens automatically because if there are less resources, they will have less kids, right? Or actually, if there is no danger from predators, if it's, you know, super healthy environment, nobody wants to kill them, they also have less kids because having 10 kids in a litter is simply there so that at least 1 or 2 survive. If they all survive, that's too dangerous for the species because they are going to take their own resource. So let's transfer that to YouTube, right? My channel, let's take it, is a species. In an environment, it's been around quite a bit. Let's call it a crocodile, not a dinosaur. There's some other channels, you know, Phil McKnight, The Tone King, Gearman Dude. They're dinosaurs. They've been around from the day 1 of YouTube. So let's call myself a crocodile and been around for a while and all good. Channel was unmonetized, didn't charge for videos, didn't have a lot of relationships with brands. And then you guys started watching. Thank you for that. And it grew and it grew. And at some point, companies are coming saying, can we pay you for videos? I'm like, okay, that's great. Can we get you some gear? Great. That enabled me to buy better recording gear, better cameras. And those are also fun for me because they motivate me to make more videos, play with a camera gear, right? So that's all an evolution. It came together from several sides, and that's where the channel went, and really people didn't have a problem. In nature, natural disasters happen, right? That can, why do I say right? I'm sorry. Sorry, as they say in Canada. Natural disasters happen, and they can mix things up. Now, in our YouTube world, things got mixed up. Not saying negatively, but we had COVID. Now, COVID was not the volcano. COVID didn't kill the channel. The species wasn't dead, but let's say my species that was on a very large island with a whole bunch of other channels, Gearman Dude, The Tone King, Robert Baker, Glenn Fricker, list goes on, friends of mine. And that island, because of a drought and some earthquakes, COVID, all of a sudden was connected to another continent. Well, now, other species could invade is a tough thing to say, but let's call it that, okay? Other species could invade our island. They joined our species, right? Glenn Fricker would be something very loud, like one of those screaming monkeys. Okay. I think he started after me, so he wouldn't be a crocodile. He could be an ostrich, maybe. No, it's something loud. Anyway, so all of a sudden, these other species are coming onto our island. And there are only so many resources. Resources, in this case, being viewers. All of a sudden, we have all these other species on the island competing for the same resource. Now, the resource, once it's eaten up, is gone. And all of a sudden, all these species, all these channels had less to eat. Not that drastic. Clicks. Okay? Still doing fine. Now, you could change what you eat and how you hunt it. So you can really change the format of the channel. Because you can say, look, there's so many other people talking about budget guitars and doing this and doing comparisons of speakers now. Everyone's got their little niche. Niche is actually a term from Darwinism, right? I think so. Pretty sure. And they carved out their little thing of what they do. So I could have said, well, people are now in their basements because they've got nothing else to do, and they're doing these reviews of stuff they have, and they talk about guitar things. And a lot of people are dealing with gear because they just love it, which is fun. And they got nothing else to do because they're sitting at home during COVID. One could have said, okay, let's change the format of the channel to go for another resource, or to get to the resource in a different way. So if everyone's at the floor looking at what's lying around, I could have said, well, I'm going to go to the first level of branches and see if there's any grubs there. Okay. For me, did I try that or didn't I try that? Well, I didn't try it during COVID. My channel has been evolving for a very long time. Remember Crocodile? Not saying that to boast how long the channel's been around. But the thing is, you do try different things. You do mutate the meme. Throughout the years, I have tried other things. Always. Just to see how it flies, right? That's mutation. And let's see if something else takes off and I could do something else on the channel other than gear reviews. However, remember, you started with gear reviews. Now, there's also a symbiotic relationship between me and my viewers. The viewers come for a certain thing. That certain thing is primarily gear. The kind of person that watches my channel is, on average, interested in buying gear, having fun with it, having a new toy, playing with that, and that's absolutely fine. It's a great hobby. It really is. I mutated. I had live stream concerts. They were expensive. They were a lot of work. We had many cameras. They were a full concert, live streamed from my studio. Big undertaking, very expensive, had to buy mixers for it. It was a big thing. No big interest. Now live streams, Phil McKnight, big on the live streams, right? Every Friday, that's what Phil does. So I've tried the live streams, and we've done production live streams with Campaign Like Clockwork. We've got 25 of them, like, huge live streams where we produce an album. Not the same response that I got from gear. So the symbiosis with my viewers is still, the viewers want gear, I show the gear. Once I do something else, it's not so interesting. Okay. Production videos. I have loads of these. Not super interesting. Mics and audio interfaces and that kind of stuff. I can talk about this. I've used it many times. Vocal production techniques, arranging techniques. This is really what I'm good at. But again, I've tried it all. The channel has a certain viewership that wants a certain thing. So I'm not really allowed to deviate too much if I want to retain a certain amount of viewers. Even with the viewers dwindling, because they now have, all the channels are now competing for that resource. I have 3,900 videos. Who thinks that I didn't try different things? Trade show videos, hundreds, if not thousands. Production, live streams, concerts, interviews. I suck at interviews. Why do I not do many interviews on the channel anymore? Evolution. I've learned lessons. I mutated the format, did some interviews, got negative comments. I'm not great at them. Get shit for them. Okay, so I'll do it if it's easy and maybe, but I'm not chasing it down anymore. Trade show stuff, done it many years. But it's a lot of work and not a lot of payoff. Okay, so maybe we'll do less of that. So what a channel does in its life cycle is trying to evolve and mutate the format to fit the audience the best so that I get the most of the resource that I'm after, which is your views and your love, right? But there are external effects, like a volcano, like COVID, that brings other channels. Now, there are some channels that do focus a lot on amps and metal. John Simon's great channel, right? Younger channel. Does great at that. In no way worse than I do, even better probably. So that's another thing that you can watch, as you should, he's great. And that's okay. I'll still continue to do amps because I'm doing my style, but we're sharing your views now, which is okay. It's nothing I can do about that, and I don't want him to have less clicks. But that's what happens. And then there's some channels where, like the other John Brown, he focuses on speakers and cabs and doing tests with that and changing speakers and everything about that. Okay, that's great. Why in the world should I try to do that? Should I? Because he's getting clicks? I don't want to go after his resource, the people that want to see that. Colin Scott, Science of Loud, Colin goes after the technical stuff. He goes deep technically. I do a different thing. He does technical explanations and beautiful graphics, and he works a long time on a video. I have no interest in the technique. I have no interest. I'm saying it again. I have no interest in the technical stuff the way that he does. I would have to do way more research and learn, so why do it? Also, I don't want to compete with him, he's my friend, for that same resource, the people that want to see that. I want to have the people that like what I do, which is, I'm sharing that with a whole bunch of other channels. All good. And after COVID, it was still fine. But then, yet again, based on what I think is happening, another influence, outside influence that we can't control, which is the economy. So less money means buying less things for your hobby, which means less views on channels that are primarily there to help you make an informed buying decision. Makes total sense. I would also not want to watch a half-hour review on a camera if I literally cannot buy it. What if I find out I really want to buy it? That'll make me sad. Now, that again actually makes, if we have an island with a bridge to the mainland, of a lot more channels competing for a resource, all of a sudden that resource is using that bridge and is going away. It's going away to the mainland, where there's channels talking about practicing guitar, which doesn't cost you money, guitar drama, right? Oh my God, Behringer is being sued by the clown people. Okay, that's cool content to watch. That doesn't make you spend money, and you're still being entertained around your hobby. Cool. You know, concert footage, Beato talking about stuff, Paul Davids. These are great resources, great channels that are doing okay because they haven't been affected by the explosion of gear channels after COVID. They are not going to be affected by people spending less money because they're not necessarily in the business of enticing you to spend money, like I am. So that, again, those grubs, those worms, oh my God, I called you worms. But you get what I'm saying. The resource is using the bridge to go to the mainland where there's other things to watch. Or where there's less. No, they're still going to be eaten because Beato eats the viewers too. In my analogy. But these outside effects affect us. Now, one could say, well, change your format. Yeah, but we just talked about that. I have 3,900 videos. I've tried to see how can I change the format? What is the thing that people on my channel want to see? Tried the interviews. If I interview Sting like Beato, I'm going to get 10,000 views if I'm lucky, right? Beato, 5 million. Because that's what people go to him for. And I don't want to interview Sting. I mean, have a coffee with him, but I suck at interviews. He's good at that. I'm not. So trust me, after doing this for 13 years, I'm happy on this island with all my new friends that came during COVID. And we all simply have to share this resource, even though less people are buying things. However, I'm not complaining because companies still need advertising. They still need reviews. You still need honest reviews. Companies still want a full-length, in-depth look at their product. Yes, they also go into short form. That also has something to do with it. And that's a whole different island that oftentimes doesn't have anything to do with us. And we don't get in each other's way. But the resource has a tunnel to short form. And, you know, some people are going there. Some of the advertising money is going there. But they still need those videos. And I still want to make the relevant video that you need to make a buying decision with all the pros and cons I can find in a product. Now I get into the last bit. I can't believe that I actually made it here without really going through this in my head. Wow. Many comments said, we don't want to see this advertising shit anymore. Where are the channels? I'm sorry, guys. This is so stupid. Where are the channels that are sitting? The guys sitting in their basement, they bought the stuff themselves. Trust me, we the YouTubers, small and big, have discussed this to death. And we're all in agreement, including the small channel that bought the stuff themselves, that if they bought it themselves, it is as much a biased review as being paid by a company, possibly even more, because you bought it for a certain reason. You spent the money. Now ripping it apart and saying this is shit is literally telling yourself in front of a running camera you were dumb and you bought the wrong product. And then you're going to sit on a bad product that you now have to sell to someone because you don't want it anymore, which you can't because he just made a video saying how shitty it is. So a brutally honest review on something you spent money on is unlikely. You are biased because you bought it. Right? Am I unbiased because I get paid? I try to be. I don't rip into things and say this is total shit, don't buy this. And that should probably be a different video explaining why that is. But let's stick with evolution here. We're going to make another video about that. Why I do that, and that it's the only way to do this, which is why most of us do this. When we have something that's really bad, not make a video about it. It's so that we can continue to work for you. But okay, different rant. I'm going to be here all night. The small channel that works in the basement, doesn't get paid, records with his phone, and shows you stuff just the way that you would show it, right? So you like that. That's where we all started. That's where I started, with the webcam, right? I just had a recording studio because that was my business, and I had the ability to record better audio than the guy that doesn't know how to do it. I had worked for an ad agency in the States where I ran their studio, and I also built their video department. So I knew video editing software. I knew a little bit about cameras. I had a pretty good head start to make decent videos right from the get-go, which is why you gravitated towards the channel if you've been with me for that long. And I get the appeal of that channel. Oh, he's not paid. He's going to say whatever. If a company sends me a 30 € pedal, which they did in the beginning, until I had 30,000 subscribers, I didn't take any money. And I was always honest. And I've never stopped being honest. But you like that guy, okay? So you want that guy to keep making videos. So you keep watching that guy. Okay. What's the next logical step? What's evolution going to do to that guy? Evolution's going to tell him, oh, what I'm doing has good genes. My meme works. I have a resource. I'm well fed by my viewers. Oh, I can start monetizing. Okay. You're getting $200 from YouTube a month. Wow. That I can make money with that? Keep watching, people. Keep subscribing. Support me on Patreon. Oh, wait, I can make money with that? Okay. You want to see more videos? Oh, wait a second. If you want to see more videos, I don't have the time. I have a family. I have a dog. I have a wife. I have bills to pay. I have to go to work. I have a job. But if you want more videos, I'm going to have to cut down hours at my job, which I would love to do because I love to make more videos for you. Okay? So cuts down hours at the job. Where's the money coming from? Trust me, none of you is supporting any of us as much on Patreon or whatever financially so that the equation works. So you want more videos from this honest basement guy that buys everything himself, but if he keeps doing what he's doing and cutting hours short so that he can make more videos for you, how is he going to afford the gear? Well, he isn't. So he thinks, well, I might go to a company and ask if they can send me the gear because I have the clicks now, I have the viewers. Maybe I don't need to buy it. You did that. You watched the channel. You said, I love you, keep it coming. You did that. You gave him the resource which is valuable to the channel, the views. All of a sudden, that channel might get stuff from companies. You can deal with that. You're happy for the guy in the beginning, till you get so much stuff that you get jealous and you haul horrible insults at them. How do I know that? 3,900 videos. Don't even want to count the amount of comments I have. Some of the viewers are pretty horrible. And a lot of it comes from jealousy. I am jealous of you because I don't have time to fucking play the stuff, right? I make videos for a living. I don't have time to actually make a lot of music or play guitar for fun. I don't. Anyway, that's me being bitter about it. Thank you for watching. So, you did that to the guy. He's getting some stuff from companies. He can now at least maybe cut one day of work short, make some more videos. Maybe the YouTube revenue goes to $500. Maybe now the day at work off doesn't hurt that much. And he doesn't actually have to spend money anymore because companies send him stuff. Okay, the channel grows. More companies approach him. Hey, what's your fee? The guy's like, what do you mean, my fee? I mean, I could get paid for doing this? But I mean, if they're asking, they like my videos. They know I'm honest. And I've always been honest about the gear. Then companies send it to me. I kept being honest. They keep sending stuff. Now they're asking how much I'm going to charge. But not for like saying what they want, because they're coming to me for what I do on the channel. And what I do on the channel is what you viewers want. So wait, that's great. Okay, I'll charge $400 a video, he says. And they say, yeah, not a problem. And keep the guitar. He's like, what? That's amazing. $400? And I don't have to buy the guitar? I can buy a new lens. I mean, because now the job is turning into making videos. So he's looking at other channels saying, oh, they have great quality. I pride myself in what I do. What I do is videos. I pride myself in that. So I will use some of that money, sell the guitar, use some of those $400 and buy a better camera and lighting. And lighting. And that's just the one to light the green screen so it's even. Another one there. And memory cards and computers and editing software and microphones and all that. And shirts. You see what happens? The quality of the channel rises up because the guy prides himself in good stuff if he has the finances to do it. Payment comes in, doesn't have to pay for gear anymore. But what you are saying, I mean, some of you, is, now it's all produced and it's an ad and it's all dishonest. What has changed? Guy's done exactly what he did from the beginning. Exactly. He's gotten to where he's now because of the success that you enabled. And all of a sudden, he's not honest anymore. All of a sudden, the success that you wished on him because you loved the guy when he was sitting in his basement, all of a sudden, that success, he gets thrown in his face. You get all this free gear, you're dishonest, paid shill, blah, blah, blah. The channel evolved. You, the resource, enabled it. All of a sudden, it's not okay anymore. We want more of the little channels. But don't you see what happens? I had this comment a lot on the decline of YouTube. We don't want the polished videos with the high quality stuff. I mean, that's so dumb. I'm sorry, why? Because I have a better camera, I'm dishonest? We want the real guy in the basement. Yeah, keep watching the real guy in the basement. Keep doing it. Keep giving him all the clicks. I know some great guys in basements, they're my friends. Keep giving them the clicks. But what's going to happen is they will evolve, hone their craft, and get better, and companies will find them, and companies will offer them deals. Now, why in the world would the guy in the basement not take the free budget guitar, and then later the free higher than budget guitar, and so on and so on? Would you not? So punishing a channel for being successful because you've watched it, and all of a sudden saying we can't trust it because it's good quality and he gets paid by the company makes no sense. I get paid by the companies for the format that I built, which brought you in. And they're getting nothing but that format. There's a lot of Darwinism happening on YouTube. Just like species can't control earthquakes, bridges being built, and COVIDs, Katja is running through my office, who starts painting in my house at what time is it? 9 o'clock. Yeah, come. Come here. It's green screen. Let's cut. It's Katja.
Hi.
She's the magician who is fixing my hallway, which is literally, oh, you can't see it. That green, no, we won't see the green. Go.
Cheese.
She's been working on restoring my hallway in the other house for a long time. She did it 12 years ago, and it has some scratches, and now she's been on it forever. A lot of Darwinism happening. External things. Am I crying about it? No. Am I pissed off when someone says, well, we want the channel with the shitty quality? Well, you want me to film with my phone? I can do that. I pride myself on good quality. My colleagues pride themselves on good quality. Punishing us for it, that's stupid. Am I bitter about all these little channels popping up? Why don't you ask them and see how many of them I'm friends with? How many of them I have conversation with and I recommend, try this mic, do this with your camera. How many of them I send to companies and I introduce them to people. I don't see the other species as intrusive. We're all a big community. Because if one of them, and this is actually comes back to, should be in here, chapter 12, nice guys finish first. That is about bats. I just spilled my tea all over the table and the floor and the carpet. Happens. Nice guys finish first. Chapter 12 is about a species of vampire bats, who fly out of the roost, but some of them can't. They don't go, no, they go fly, but some of them might not get prey. Some of them might not get cows to suck on and get the blood, whatever. And so at night, they all hang in their cave or wherever, barn. But the ones that fed will let the ones that didn't get food suck on them and share some of the blood. Why? Is that purely altruistic? Is altruism a thing? Is being kind and sharing truly just a good deed with no expectations? Well, Nice Guys Finish First is a great chapter. It's not necessarily all that it is. It's a pay it forward kind of a thing. So when one of the bats that did feed and let the other bats feed on them, on another evening comes home and didn't get to feed, well, they still eat because the others let them share. And if I help channels with 42 Gear Street but just by, if anyone asks me, hey, can you hook me up with this company? I write an intro immediately. Why is that? That is actually sharing my resource. That's my connection with the company. That's my guy. That's my work that went into getting that company to work with me. I could keep that all to myself. I could not share it with anyone, right? Right. It would be better for me, in the short term, it would be better for me to not be friends with any other channel. And there are some channels that are like that don't interact with a lot of other YouTubers, right? They stay on their own. I know a bunch. I don't know them that well because they stay on their own. But the thing is, if you're a community and you share, I have 190,000 subscribers. If a channel with 1,000 subscribers says, can you help me out with that, blah, 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 I will. Who knows where that channel's going to go? Who knows what's going to happen with that dude? Who knows who he runs into and what kind of connection he can make, she can make, that later on might benefit me. So I let them suck me so that at some point, when I need it, I can suck them. Nice guys finish first. It's also a song on Unweaving the Rainbow. You should. It's off of Spotify because I took all my stuff off of Spotify. But yeah. So Darwinism is 100% running YouTube as well. Don't know why you're still here. Makes no sense. But I've spoken my piece. I've said it. Maybe I educated. Maybe I put some thoughts in your heads. I'm not bitter. I'm fine. I actually have a shit ton of stuff to do. And in a week, I'm going on a little cruise in Norway with my mom because she always wanted to do that. And then my dad died. And they wanted to do it after he beat cancer, which he didn't. And then I said, look, we finally need to do that so mom can have a Norway cruise. So I'm going to be on an old people boat with my mom for a week. So if you don't hear from me, that's where I am. Thanks for indulging me, hanging out. Animals at the end.